And alongside him, Giuseppe Palomba will be on the right side of the track, the 350, driving the Intrepid chassis. It's going to have Giacomo Polini just behind. As you can see, the starting grid appearing on your screen. Matteo Vigano will be third on the grid on the second row. Then we're going to have Oliver Rasmussen in 319 with Alessio Piscini alongside him on the third row. Adrien Renaudin, the current leader of the championship with 38 points, as we have updated that ranking with the latest results of the qualifying heat. We'll be starting from 8th position with alongside him Jean Luyet in 7th. 5th row, we're going to have Pierre Loubert and Ricardo Longhi. Then the 6th row will be shared by Alexander Schmitz and David Vidales, the Spaniard. Alexander Dahlberg and Maximilian Paul will be on the 7th row. 8th row will be shared by Daniel Bray and Fabrizio Rosati. 9th row, Daniel Vasile and Hubert Petit. Arthur Carbonell and Tom Loyal will be together on the 10th row. 11th row will be Alessandro Pellizzari and Thomas Lande. Alessandro Gardelli and Kevin Pierusek will be sharing the 12th row. 13th row, William Lanzani and Matteo Zanchi. Emil Scaras and Marco Valenti on the 14th row. 15th row, Natalia Balbo and Gerard Adrizza. Lorenzo Giannoni and Rokas Baciuska on the 16th row. And 17th and last row, Christian Abulin and Brad Agredo. 34 drivers for what's going to be a fantastic show as the field is about to complete a second warm lap. So the first one to get the tires at temperature, the other one to get properly in line on the grid, as we're going to have a standing start for this KZ2 category as well as for the KZ, the Academy Trophy, starting with a running start as we've had so far in the qualifying heats. Just a few seconds to wait, as you can see live from Safeguard Karting, the drivers getting the tires as hot as possible. Most of the drivers, of course, have new sets of tires, 3 sets for the entire weekend, and new sets of LeConte tires for this final. Some of them maybe had decided to put those news on maybe earlier for the last heats. Chris Mccarthy, you're back from the track. It has been once again really nice to see you with those drivers, interviewing them and see, giving us a glimpse of what the atmosphere is on track. How was it? As we're ready to go actually in a few seconds. Over to you, of course, for the start and the first lap.
It was very hot and drivers very much in the zone. They're up for this. A lot of them want to win. There can only be one winner, unfortunately, as there can be in the championship. Renaudin and Loubert, the ones to watch for that. To the right of screen, your pole sitter, Emilian Denner, Giuseppe Palomba next, here at Lonato. Round 2 of the European Championship for KZ2. Wait for the lights to go out. Off we go, and it's a fantastic start there from Palomba, who's almost able to take the lead, but it's Emilian Denner who's going to lead them through turn number 1 then as we go down towards turn number 3. It's Giuseppe Palomba in 2nd place. 3rd place is Giacomo Polini. 4th place is Matteo Vigano. Then it's Rasmussen being challenged by Renaudin round the outside. There's your race leader, Emilian Denner. We've got someone briefly off the circuit. I think that may have been Pierre Loubert, in fact, as they now head down towards the chicane for the first time. A little bit of defending going on from Polini when he perhaps didn't need to. Has invited some pressure now from Vigano there in the green and white Tony Kart colours as they now head up towards the left-hand hairpin. This the first of 25 laps, and in our very first interview, David Vidales said this is a long race, and some of the drivers telling us that you have to manage your tyres in your first few laps. So we may see a bit of that. We may not see drivers taking too many risks early on. That, unfortunately, is one driver out of the race. We actually have lost, it seems, Gerard Arizza and Lorenzo Giannone. So I think Gerard Arizza wasn't actually on the grid, and it looks like Giannone has fallen on the first lap as we now head down towards the chicane. There's Alexander Dahlberg in the 308, just a little bit up the road is the 302 there of Matteo Vigano. Oh, well, we had one of the medical staff on the circuit there. That could have been very dangerous. Fortunately, nothing happened in the end. But let's get straight back to the race. Emilian Denner is leading. Giuseppe Palomba there. I did stop speaking for a second there. Thankfully, everyone managed to avoid the personnel that come on the circuit. I just think unaware, but change of 3rd place there, Guillaume. That's Matteo Vigano passing Giacomo Polini, but Polini trying to fight back.
Yeah, good battle once again as we get into the first final of this afternoon. 2 laps completed, we're into the third, and some move indeed for the first place with Matteo Vigano, the 302. Getting past, and you can see Adrien Renaudin right now in a battle in sandwich really between Oliver Rasmussen and Alessio Piccini. This is a battle for 5th as Adrien Renaudin, as we discussed previously, is trying to recover some ground as much as possible. Mechanical flag for Thomas Lande, it seems, the Frenchman who's currently in, let's have a look, as we have someone in the grass over there, Lande further back in the field as the drivers come across the line once again, making their way into the airpin onto the hill. 2.5G in those 2 left-handers with the leader, Emilia Denner, the fastest in the first sector. He has the track for himself. We're just behind Giuseppe Palomba. Those two are very close to each other. This is the first row. Of course, it's in the same order as it was at the start. Matteo Vigano now 3rd ahead of Giacomo Polini. 5th place for Oliver Rasmussen. Adrien Renaudin is 6th with 1 place gained by the... And we have Dahlberg well spotted on that one. Chris, it was, no, Riccardo Longhi actually, apologies, that got past Alessio Piccini. This is battle for 7. Alexander Dahlberg is just behind in 9th, 10th place for Jean Lhuillier, and we have just behind outside of the top 10 David Vidales. So what a start of the race actually, and all goes so good and according to plans, certainly for Emilien Denner, the poleman, the French driver, actually the fastest at least at the end of the qualifying heat, who inherited the pole position and is now busy trying to escape from Giuseppe Palomba and Matteo Vigano. The gap actually was 7/10 the lap before as they come into the exit of the last hairpin onto the start-finish line. Let's have a look at the gap. It's still the same, 6/10 as they make their way into the first corner. Chris, once again, we've started very, very fast between those 2 drivers, but it seems that Emilia Denner is capable of flying away, and Adrien Renaudin is still stuck behind, trying to take the inside line just before him with Oliver Rasmussen. This is a long race, 25 of course laps, still 20 to go, and it's time maybe for Adrien Renaudin, the current leader of the championship, to really push forward and try to recover the ground he needs.
He does. Renaudin looking to tie up the championship. In terms of the championship contenders, Pierre Loubert down in 16th, so this would be good enough for Renaudin to win the title by my maths. All he needs to do is stay here. We'll have a look if anyone else can catch him, but from what we can see, we don't think so. We're going to have Guillaume now just start to do some maths on that, but out of turn number 3 come the race leaders, and it's this battle for 5th place where we're focused on. Oliver Rasmussen at the head of it in the all blue colours. That is Adrien Renaudin, your championship leader. In the green and white, just behind of the 312 cart, that is just tailing him, that is Alessio Piccini. Down towards the chicane they go, and up towards the hairpins. Oliver Rasmussen there just being tailed along here by Riccardo Longhi as they head in towards the final hairpin and up towards the start-finish straight. That is 7 laps now completed, as here we can see Rasmussen still under a lot of pressure now. Oh, and is that a challenge? It is. Down the inside goes Riccardo Longhi. Longhi, who won 4 heats yesterday, has now just gone in to 5th place in this one, and Rasmussen, it could be worse for him. He's got Renaudin just behind. Rasmussen now having to defend, and Renaudin is through. Fantastic move there. Adrien Renaudin goes through. Alessio Piccini goes as well. Rasmussen is down into 8th place here. Behind that, we've got Alexander Dahlberg under a little bit of pressure, but there you can see Alexander Dahlberg now. We're just picking that battle up as they come through the left-hand hairpin, but the 312 there in the middle of picture, that is Alessio Piccini, who's upper place on this lap. Down through turns 1 and 2 they go once more, and thought I heard an incident going on there, but thankfully it didn't appear to have been that. In terms of the leaders, oh, well, let's go back to that a little bit later, because there is a move. That's David Vidales, who we spoke to before the race, going past Jean Louet, I think that is, as that will put David Vidales up into 11th place and nearer to the top 10. There is Vidales in the 333, having passed Louet. Emilien Denner then up towards the final corner he goes. He's starting to extend his lead now, Guillaume, It could be over a second by the time he crosses the line next time.
Yeah, impressive pace showed by Emilien Denner, the leader, the Frenchman. And 1 second, indeed, as they cross the line again. 1 full second is the gap between Denner and Giuseppe Palomba as we enter the 10th lap in this 25 round final of the KZ2 category. The title decided, of course, between Pierre Loubert, Adrien Renaudin and Hubert Petit. This is your top three from Salbris, of course. And right now we have an unexpected name at the front, Emilien Denner. Palomba was 9 during at the end of the first round in second place. Third place, Matteo Vigano, Polo Giacomo Polini in fourth. Riccardo Longhi is 5. And Andrea Renaudin, the current leader of the ranking and potential champion regarding what we saw at Salbris, is still down in 6. That could be enough considering that Pierre Loubert is further back in the ranking, as Chris mentioned before. Let's have a look. 1 more second, 1.1 second between those two as we have the battle on screen. Beautiful Matteo Vigano just behind Giuseppe Palomba. It seems that the Tony Kart driver is faster right now than his opponent. This is battle for second that you have right now on the screen. Two drivers in the same picture making their way into the chicane, left and right. Just behind, as very close to each other as well, is Giacomo Polini and Riccardo Longhi. There's a battle for 4. So it's really battling all over the field right now. In the rest of the ranking, behind Adrien Renaudin in 6, we still have Alessio Piccini, Oliver Rasmussen, Schmitz, and Alexander Dahlberg. With let's have a look where Pierre Loubert is down in 15th position with a loss of 5th places since we started this race. Hubert Petit is 17. So didn't smell too good for the two French drivers indeed. In the hope of a good result at the championship. Adrien Renaudin seems to have the upper hand as we speak, but still a long way to go, Chris. Of course, we're not yet halfway through this final of KZ2. Maybe still a lot of things to say and to, of course, to witness on track here at Lonato. But one thing is for sure, Adrien Renaudin is still battling, as you can see right now, with just behind him, Alessio Piccini, the Tony Kart driver, Adrien Renaudin, with a full blue livery. This is right now live from Lonato, and it's getting exciting. Hopefully, Adrien Renaudin can recover the ground he needs, as you can have on screen. Beautiful battle. This is a bit further back. Giacomo Polini and Riccardo Longhi, Chris.
It is, and watch Longhi, because I think he may be lining up a move this time. There he goes. He came from a long way back, but Longhi goes down the inside then and takes the move. Well, that was what we picked up, and that is the next move that had just happened. Riccardo Longhi now chasing down a podium. What a result it would be for the Italian if he could do it, having been cruelly taken away of a 5th victory yesterday when he had an engine seize going in towards turn number 1. Absolutely not his fault, nothing he could do about it. Riccardo Longhi trying to get a result that he definitely deserves, a podium. A bit further back, Adrien Renaudin is in a position where he will secure the title despite losing a place on the last lap to Alessio Piccini. Here they are. You can see now they've swapped places. In the all blue, Renaudin is now behind the green and white colours there of the Tony Kart driver in the 312 Alessio Piccini, and he's got another Tony Kart driver to deal with behind him in Alexander Schmitz. So Alexander Schmitz, we spoke to him on the grid. He had a brake problem, it seemed, yesterday. He lost the brakes, he said, completely, and that dropped him down to 7th place. And Schmitz reckons he can get well inside the top 10 here, and you can see why he said it. He's now challenging Adrien Renaudin. We're going to have to just keep an eye on the points, because the likes of Giacomo Polini and Alessio Piccini could start to close the gap to Adrien Renaudin. I don't know if it will be anywhere near enough, but still Renaudin is falling down the order just a little bit here. Are the nerves getting to him, I wonder, as they head down towards turn number 4. Here we go, and here comes a move in towards turn number 4. Schmitz now goes past Adrien Renaudin, and Adrien Renaudin, is he just playing his cards safe, I wonder, or does he just not have the pace in this final that he may have expected? Let's not forget, he hasn't exactly been winning races all weekend. He does have one heat win to his name, but on the basis of things, he qualified on row 4. He's now running in 8th, so I guess he is where you'd expect. He just had a fantastic start to the race. He's now got Rasmussen behind him, 15 laps down.
Yeah, we talked about Renaudin, previously, Chris, in our lunchtime show. And what about the strategy for the Frenchman? Running now in 7, as we have a look at the virtual championship, as it could be at the end of this race. Adrien Renaudin could be crowned actually 2018 European champion. So I would say that he might go for one more attack, try to recover some ground and make sure that he'll get a hand on the title, or at least try to avoid any incident with, for example, just behind him, it is indeed Oliver Rasmussen in the 319 that you can see on screen. He might try to recover the ground and still keep attacking because this is a final and he needs to get out of the pressure from his opponents, or at least try to save his position as much as he can, because he might know that with being 7 right now, he will get the title at the end, if anything, of course, if everything stays in place. But we have indeed Giacomo Polini running 5th just before him. Emilia Denner in 3rd in the championship. This is the current leader of this final with less than 9 laps to go, as you can see on the screen, 16 laps out of 25. So right now, I wonder what's happening on the under Adriano Renauden's helmet. He might play it safe or might play it aggressive. I think he needs to do kind of both, just to make sure you can see the checkered flag in good condition. We shall see about that, of course. Let's get back on top of the field as the leader, Emilia Denner, is about to cross the line once again to complete one more lap on top of this 34 driver field. You can see them on screen into the first corner. Let's have a look at the gap. 1.7 second with Giuseppe Palomba in 2nd position ahead of Matteo Vigani. Just 4 tenths behind those two. This is a battle for 3rd that we're looking at. We're just behind Riccardo Longhi in 4, Giacomo Polini in 5th position, and Piscini, Schmitz, Renaud and David Vidalis in 9 ahead of Oliver Rasmussen. Oliver Rasmussen, the driver driving the number 319. The Frenchman who just lost the position to the Spaniard. This is further back in the field, of course. But this is now becoming kind of stable. But Longhi, as you mentioned, is still very close. I think he's catching up with just before him Matteo Vigano. It's a good battle for 3rd, and that might be at the advantage of Giuseppe Palomba, as he's running currently in 2nd. And you know, the time for those two behind him, Matteo Vigano and Riccardo Longhi, that we have on screen to battle against each other, that could be the occasion for Giuseppe Palomba in 2nd position to increase the gap. Who knows?
Yeah, but I can tell you we have a virtual championship in front of us now. So as it stands on this lap, Adrien Renaudin is going to win the title with 47 points. Giacomo Polini will be 2nd with 37 points, but he's only 2 points ahead of Emilian Denner, who is of course leading the way. So if Polini loses a couple of places, which at the moment he doesn't look in danger of doing so, then he will lose 2nd place. Giuseppe Palomba only needs 1 more point and he would be on the championship podium, but of course to do that he'd need Denner to lose the lead of the race, and that again is looking unlikely. Alessio Piccini currently 5th in the championship. Riccardo Longhi there in picture in the red and white is 6th, but there he goes for a move down the inside. Is it? Let's have a look and confirm that as they come up towards the left-handers. Yes, that's Riccardo Longhi then onto the podium here. He's just got past Matteo Vigano, so things could change now in terms of the championship next time they come across the line. Would that be Riccardo Longhi into 5th place, I wonder? 7th place is Pierre Loubert, 8th place Hubert Petit, Matteo Vigano is 9th, and Gillian Lay is in 10th place as we speak. Let's get an update as they come across the line then. And does Riccardo Longhi move up the order? We'll have to wait for things to refresh once everyone is across the line. But for now, we can tell you the man in the red and white colours there, the Birol ART chassis, as they come down towards us, is trying to chase down a 5th place in this championship. That is Emilian Denner, who is leading the way and will finish 3rd at this rate. There is Matteo Vigano, who is on to finish 9th in the championship at the moment. 20 laps have been completed. That will become 21 once Emilian Denner crosses the line. But I tell you what, I don't think Riccardo Longhi is done here. He's now chasing down Giuseppe Palomba. He's within a second of the Italian as they come out of the last corner and across the start-finish line. So this is definitely still on for Riccardo Longhi to get 2nd place here. Giuseppe Palomba. Let's have a look at the gap. It is 7 tenths of a second. And last time around, it was Riccardo Longhi that I think, well, in fact, our timing screen just a little bit behind at the moment, so we'll wait for that to refresh. But we can get the gaps across the bottom of the screen. As you can see, it's half a second, isn't it? So as they come across the line, and we're just coming up now to 22 laps completed.
Yeah, with the gaps stabilizing as we speak, but we shall have a better look at it because, yeah, right now it's getting back on our screen with less than 4 laps to go for the checkered flag. Chris, with 22 completed. Emilian Denner is just crossing the line, the 349, 2.1 seconds. Is it just increases lead? The Frenchman ahead of Giuseppe Palomba and Riccardo Longhi, just half of a second between those two. Riccardo Longhi in third, just behind this driver on your screen, the 350 of Giuseppe Palomba, driving the Intrepid chassis. Just behind, Birilat racing driver Riccardo Longhi, the 308, is chasing his opponent, is really decreasing the gap between those two. It was half of a second in this lap. We're gonna update you, of course, as soon as they cross the line again. Just behind is Matteo Vigano in fifth position for Giacomo Polini. Right now, as we speak, the top 10 hasn't changed that much as the speed is very high and the gap tend to remain the same. Let's have a look. It's still almost half of a second as you had one unlucky driver in the corner of your screen right now on the stream. It seems to me that, thank you Chris, it is Matteo Zanchi, the 379 that was running somewhere around the top 20. That's going to have to retire out of this final. Unfortunately for him, as we have less than 2 laps to go in this KZ2 final, the title decider. And as for now, running as we speak in 9th position with a drop of 2 positions still for Adrien Renona. He might not want to lose any more position. He's still the virtual winner of this European Championship with an advantage of 9 pounds on Polini. Giacomo Polini now in 5th position. But, you know, anything can happen. This is the final lap of this race already, Chris.
It is indeed. Emilian Denner looks on to take victory and 3rd in the championship. Behind him, the battle on track for 2nd is also for 4th in the championship. If Riccardo Longhi passes Giuseppe Palomba, he will take 4th in the championship. However, a little bit further back in 9th place, it appears that Adrien Renaudin has played his cards safe in this one, and you can't blame him. He will take the European title fairly comfortably. But let's for now focus on our race winner. He's been absolutely on fire all weekend, Emilian Denner. Round the last corner he comes. He is going to take round 2 victory as he comes across the line. Fantastic stuff from the Frenchman. He wins. 2nd place will go to Giuseppe Palomba, and here comes Adrien Renaudin across the line any second now. He is going to become the 2018 champion. I don't think he knows it just yet, but Adrien Renaudin wins the title. Well, Emilian Denner wins the race on track, and good to see mechanics from all different teams clapping him home. That puts Emilian Denner 3rd in the championship overall. Giacomo Polini finishes 2nd in the championship. 3rd in the championship, Emilian Denner. 4th in the championship, Giuseppe Palomba, having just held off Riccardo Longhi, who will be 5th in the championship. Then it was Alessio Boccini, Pierre Loubert, Hubert Petit, Matteo Vigano and Gillian Lay. But your 2018 champion in the KZ2 class is Adrien Renaudin. He follows in the footsteps of some fantastic drivers. FIA European champion. That doesn't sound too bad at all. And after his performances at Salisbury and here, Adrien Renaudin does deserve that. He's had to contend with a lot of pressure. Not the best of luck at times, but Renaudin did the right thing at times. Didn't fight too hard. Knew he had to just stay on track. And Renaudin, with a 9th place result, wins. In terms of the race,